Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started tonight. Thank y'all for being here. We are live streaming this, and tonight, for the first time, if you don't mind killing that music, tonight, y'all are actually going to be seen on camera. These two cameras here are picking y'all up, so at any point they can see you.
Y'all wave to our viewers.
So,
Everybody wave.
We'll let you know. We'll let Rena tell us. Ah, there you go. Okay, so tonight we're going to kind of wrap up our introduction of the Academy. Starting next week, there will be a little bit different format. Not necessarily different format, but different teachings. And so I wanted to kind of come full circle. We've mentioned stages of growth throughout this entire 4-week or 3-week, whatever this has been, 4-week process of this introduction. So tonight we're going to get interactive right off the very top, okay? So what I want to do is I don't know how else to do this other than numbering you all, or you number yourself. Here's what I really want to do. I want you guys to find somebody you're not with tonight, okay? And we need to form 5 groups, okay? I don't care if we have 2 in 1 or 3 in 1, whatever. Let's just divide up into some groups. So you're all adults. Actually, I don't need to count this off. You guys can do this on your own. Let's just form 5 groups. I'll need one group right here on this front row, one group on this row. Let's skip a row, group, skip a row. We'll have one back there. Perfect. Nope. Somebody, yeah. We're breaking up the Bash Brothers. No, that's not a group. That's a selfie. Okay, in your case, you're right. Okay, we got group 1 over here. We got group 2 over here with Tiffany. Group 5 with Kenny. We got group 3. Group 4. We need 5 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sadort, can you be with Kenneth?
I'll go be with Kenneth.
You know what? Y'all 3 are perfect. Y'all 3 are perfect. Sure, that'd be a great idea. Okay, we're going to move quickly. We need everybody to have a pen. Whoa. He's got the power. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I need everybody listening. Everyone listening. Anyway. All right, so we're going to talk about stages of growth tonight in a very practical way, and you're going to help us do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass each of you are going to have each group's going to have a piece of paper you're going to write on, okay? What I want you to write down is characteristics or traits that you find with what's listed. Someone who is dead, who is an infant, child, young adult, parent, okay? You're just writing down natural traits that you would find with someone in that stage of life, okay? Or lack thereof, all right? We'll start over here. This is not spiritual. This is just natural things. Don't look for anything spiritual here. Just physical characteristics, physical traits, things that you would find with someone in this stage of life. Does it make sense? That's right. You do what you've been given. So you're talking about a child. What do you find as a child? Characteristics, traits. And I'll give you one more. This something that they might need. What does that particular group need? Okay, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, okay? 5 minutes. Starting now. If you're watching online, they are in groups, and they're writing down traits, characteristics, needs of people who are dead, infant, child, young adult, or parent. Physical characteristics, traits, and needs. You have about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Needs. Yep. You're looking for traits that you would find in those particular stages. Okay, you have about 1 more minute. Okay, about 30 seconds, then we're going to share our responses. We are online now. That's true. But we have crowd mic too picking this up, so I'm sure y'all's conversation has been really good. Okay, that's it. Time. Just finish writing what you're writing. Okay, so you can kind of stay in your circles because we're going to do another exercise right after this. So don't move out of your circle. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to start with the dead category. And can you just give us like 3, 4, 5 different characteristics or traits that you find with someone who is dead?
Cold.
Okay.
Pale. Smelly.
She ain't wrong.
And prostrate.
Okay. Okay. All right. Tell me a couple things, 2 or 3 things that they actually need from that stage.
Well, makeup. They need friends like pallbearers.
Okay.
Yeah. And a coroner or urn.
Okay. All right. Who has the infant? Infant. Let's go here. That was good. Y'all said cold, right? You said cold. What was what? Did you say distant was one of the other ones? Or something? Y'all said something. Well, the body at least. Okay, a few traits from infant stage.
We put they cry a lot, they're needy, they're completely dependent, self-centered, they desire attention and stimulation, and they grow quickly but develop in stages.
So what are some things they need?
They need to be fed, protected, and cared for.
It's really good. All right, child. Okay, let's go to the child stage. Give me a few characteristics and traits, and then a few things they need.
So they have to have a parent. They need someone who's in control because they need discipline to provide them nourishment, housing, stuff that they need. Well, they need to be told and shown about Jesus. That's just normal for me. But, well, simple-minded, innocent, easily trust.
That's good. Okay, let's go to the young adult section.
It's funny how y'all got that one.
Yeah, that is funny how they
Who's reading?
Give me a few
Addicted
characteristics.
to social media, focused on relationships, wanting to lead others, trying to better themselves, afraid they're not good enough, slightly responsible, unwise sometimes, but think they're wise. Getting a job, career, or college, building life, a life or family, drastic changes, sometimes kinder than when they're younger.
Okay. No, that was good. That was good. Thank you. Okay, last one is parent, and we got the 3 wise men in the back. It's our Noah's kids, Ham, Sham, and Gary. Go ahead.
What?
Give me some
Okay,
traits.
we got the parents. We got traits. We got provider, caretaker, teacher, selfless, reliable, responsible, and disciplinary.
So what about things they need?
Alone time, money/job, friends, purpose, and stability.
Okay, that's good. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to continue this exercise. Quint, would you mind picking up, well, I'll tell you what, let's do it this way. Give me your sheet that you wrote on, and you're taking a new one. Well, I'm sorry. I want to do it that way I'll make sure I'm not giving them the same. Thank you, Bo. Okay, the exercise is the same. Except this time, the exercise is the same, except this time you're in a new category. Okay, so you got 5 minutes. Write down character traits and needs. Maybe separate the needs from your traits. Put yourself 2 columns on there. 5 minutes. Let's go. Again, you're looking for character traits and needs for your stages. You got 2 minutes. We're going to wrap up with this exercise. Okay, 1 minute. Few more seconds. Okay, here we go. You ready to share? Everybody ready? All right, spiritually dead. All right, let's start over here. So now we're looking at the spiritual traits of these stages.
Okay, so the traits for spiritually dead are hard-hearted, no personal responsibility in regard to blame. They are self-centered and takers. They lack peace, and they're not trustworthy in both ways, meaning you can't trust them and they don't trust you.
Okay.
And they need someone who is fat, faithful, available, and teachable. They need a role model. They need authenticity, consistency, and they need long haulers, people who are going to stick it out and stay with them for a long time.
That's good. That's good. Let's add one thing to that list. They're characterized mainly as spiritually dead by having unbelief. There's no belief in God. They are spiritually dead, and they have not been awakened to life in Christ. All right? Infant, spiritual infant. All right.
So the traits are that they know Jesus, but they don't know him. They don't have a relationship. They can be very gung-ho because something new and exciting, but they don't understand what is being saved really is. They're still selfish, and they're still closed off to an extent. Even though their walls aren't completely down, their walls are partially up, but they still have to jump over that wall. What they need direction, encouragement. They need a strong spiritual parent. They need a boost in confidence for never being too far or never being too bad to come to Jesus. They need Bibles, study guides, and how to use them.
Yeah, so a key word for that group would be characterized by ignorance. They just don't know what they don't know. Okay? All right, let's go to spiritual children. Speaking of which, no offense, no offense.
You say that, but Lauren, was you raise her hand?
Sure.
Think they're better than others, show offs, learning to worship and pray, wanting to learn how to preach, getting baptized, jealous, selfish, have lots of wants, discontent, clingy, needy, cringy, sorry, not smart sometimes, wanting to change the way they appear, breaking rules, pretending to be more mature, desperate for attention on good or bad, curious, immature.
And is there,
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, so characterization for that group would be self-centeredness. I mean, a child is just all about themselves. Okay. All right, young adult. That's back here. Oh yeah, the wise man. Pet boys.
We got
10 minutes or less. Come
okay
on
on the traits here. They want we got the young adults. They want somebody else to help them take the initiative, to help encourage them to take it. They give up easily, like if it's hard to fight or do anything spiritual wise. Good at emulating spiritual maturity, act like they know it all, want to serve, easily distracted though. The needs, they need encouragement and recognition, affirmation, and areas to serve and continue teaching. They want to continue on learning how to teach.
That's really good. What we start seeing spiritually with young adults and they move from being a child to young adult is, yeah, you still have some tendencies that fall into that child category, but they're becoming more others focused, more God focused, and less me focused. So that was really good. All right, last one, spiritual parent.
So a spiritual parent is nurturing, providing. They inform and educate. They're supportive. They take no crap. They advise. They're mature. We meant to say loving first, is what we were supposed to say first. Loving and caring. And they're disciplinarian. And their needs are they need support, they need wisdom and patience, they need a refill button, they need an outlet, they need accountability, and most importantly, they need a personal relationship with Jesus.
Very good. So spiritual parents characterized by someone who is intentional and strategic when it comes to helping other people grow. The goal, obviously, is to get to that spot, right, for all of us. I don't know if you caught on, but there was almost identical words being used, whether it's growing naturally as a person or spiritually. Spiritual infants, like regular infants, need a lot of care, a lot of attention, right? When someone, this will we're going to have in later classes, but I wanted to get to this tonight. The will we talk about of growth, the first part of that will, the first quarter of that will, is talking about those who are spiritually dead, moving them from dead to life, and they become a spiritual infant. They're ignorant because they don't know what they don't know, right? They're not stupid necessarily. They just don't know what they don't know. So what they need, you hit it on the head, girls, is they need us to share our lives, the truth of the gospel. They need us to share new habits. How do I do this? How do I grow, right? So then we get them to go from that stage to the child stage. What they need is connection. They're growing, and they're growing in stage. I think y'all even said that about physically, about children or whoever. Someone said that about growing in stages, right? So they need to connect to God, to a small group. They need to find purpose, because there's no way to move a spiritual child to a spiritual young adult if they don't have purpose. And so that's what helps them get out of their selves and being so self-centered and moving on to adulthood and young adulthood, which, again, you guys hit on the head too. Opportunities to serve. We want young adults, the way to get them to become spiritual parents is to give them opportunities to serve and to lead. And it may not be major things at first, but it's helping them be equipped for ministry, have opportunities to minister, and then actually be released to minister with the help of someone else. Because a lot of times what we'll do is we get someone to a place where they're maturing and they're growing, then we release them without any equipping and any mentoring, and they fall flat on their face, and they revert right back to this childhood stage because no one was there to help guide them through that. So it's a training stage for these people. And then last, when you're a parent, you're doing it. You're reproducing yourself. You need to be able to understand the disciple-making process. It's a reproducible process because you're reproducing yourself and someone else. You're birthing spiritual children, if you will. One of the things I think somebody said, what was your needs? Read some of those again to me, please.
You need support. You need wisdom, patience, a refill button. You need an outlet, accountability, and a personal relationship with Jesus.
So all those things are important. A lot of times, parents, especially spiritually speaking, tend to get on their own island. And if you do that for too long, like Todd says, if I'm the only person filling myself up and giving myself advice, I'm going to be in trouble. And so parents need each other. You have to have a place where you can go and have accountability with other people who are on the same walk that you're on, going down the same path that you're on. So our whole idea of this Monday Night Academy is to help you understand that your call as a disciple maker is just as important as my call to preach, Lauren's call to sing, Todd's call to run the computer, Mike to run the cameras, Wayne and Kenneth. We're all on this same playing field here, guys. We're all called to go and make disciples. There's no one bigger or better than anyone else in this whole thing. We're all in this together. So what our goal is to train you, even to have reminders of some basic things that you already know, but just to refresh yourself with that and get you excited again about, why we believe what we believe and how we can take that belief and put some hands and feet on it and make it practical so that we can help other people grow. Here's what I want to do. I want you guys to spend about 5 minutes, and I want you to talk within yourself, your groups here, what stage you think you're in, what stage you think you're in, and how you can move yourself to the next level. All right? So here we go. 5 minutes to talk about what stage you're in. Just go around. Everybody get a turn. Everybody talk about it. Starting now. Okay, just a couple more minutes if we can. We'll come back together and talk about this. Okay, about one more minute, guys, and then we're going to talk about it. Okay, guys. I need a couple more minutes. Nah. Okay, I'm hearing some really good conversations, but I'd like to talk as a group before we run out of time tonight. I know y'all are probably still deep into it, but let's kind of wrap it up. I want to start with the Pet Boys in the back. Kenneth, can you just can you share kind of what the general stage that most of you talked about? Where do most of you guys find yourself?
Kind of in between parent and young adult. There's aspects that we see ourselves as a parent, and then aspects where we revert back to young adult. But the difference, I think, is that we all anytime that we do revert back, we notice that change. We do see it. So
Yeah, thank you. Somebody just walked by. I don't know who it was.
Well, we do acknowledge your parental cook.
No doubt.
It was very good tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, never mind. I know who it is. Never mind. We're good. But thank y'all both for your response. Lauren, what about your group? Can you share kind of what where most people in your group are finding themselves in the stages?
Well, I think what the consensus is that we all see in ourselves childlike tendencies, and then also see in ourselves young adult and parent tendencies, and that we're not just in one spot. But something Christopher said was the difference in being just a child and in growing is when a child is corrected, they, scream, holler, fuss, want to stay that way and not change. When a young adult is beginning to be corrected, they actually put forth some effort to listen to the correction and begin to change. And then also just a hunger for deeper things than a child would want. That young adult tendency, like I want the deep things that cost me something. That's what we heard.
That's good. Thank you for sharing.
In that, specifically in desiring worship that is more than just an outward thing, worship that is real in spirit and in truth.
That's good. Thank y'all for sharing. Miss Angie, what about your group?
I really like what they had to say. I caught a few of that, and it really is true that we can be in several different areas, what Ray just said, because it depends on where we are. It depends on who we're around. Is someone going to get, overdone because I'm slapping it on top of them? But we just need to love, and we need to do what we need to do. But we all three said we were spiritual young adults more so than anything, because we all want and to be intentional. We're trying to be intentional. I think God's reproducing in my group, but I think that we all can go forward. Anytime you do a survey, I never put 5. We all kind of agreed with that. Never put a 5, because you can always get better. You can always do more and go deeper.
My only challenge to what you said would be, how are you training yourself to be intentional, not trying? That's it. Words matter. One of y'all want to share kind of the general consensus? Elena?
I think us two were on the same page with the fat boys in the back. We
She said pep. She said pep. Faithful, available, teachable. I got it.
Hey, one's my husband. I can call him that, right? So us two are more in that category, as far as like we can see us sliding back to the young adult category in certain areas, but we recognize that and we know how to correct that and get ourselves back on track. And thankfully, we have a great spiritual parent in our group,
Sure.
So that is more along in the process than we are.
That's good.
So
That's good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Motley Crew, Hucko, why don't you share kind of what your group is feels like they're at?
We were pretty much on the same page with everybody else. Just kind of everybody's in like Todd talked about how it's a wheel, not a straight line. So it's not something that you just continuously go forward or anything. It's something that you can kind of be wherever you need to be in that moment. Like if you need to be a spiritual parent to somebody, most of us feel like we can be that. We did have one spiritual grandpa in our group.
No.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's good. Thank y'all for sharing. So clearly, our goal is to look like Jesus. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're doing, this whole thing. And the idea is that if you're not growing, you're dying. I mean, really. And so what's good is you can recognize tendencies where you're like, okay, I'm below where I know I should be. I recognize that. So I'm going to take steps to help myself move back to where I was or even further, so that way I'm continuing to see growth in my spiritual life, and I'm not staying stagnant where I am. I think all of us can say that we have moments where we come off that parent side and we're complete fools. But thank God for grace and mercy. I want to close out with this. I'd like to hear from y'all. what do you think are some phrases? So let me back up. Our goal is to train you, equip you to be disciple makers. It's important for you to be able to recognize where someone else is at on this wheel. So what do you think phrases sound like from someone who is spiritually dead? Just raise your hand. We'll bring the mic to you. Anybody can talk. Phrases that someone might say if they're spiritually dead.
God is not real.
Yeah. What else? Parker, behind you.
After your life on earth, you're dead, you're gone, there's nothing else.
Okay. That's good. What else?
Some weird, wise kids over here.
Mr. Wayne in the back.
Lost, empty.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking for purpose. Looking for love in all the wrong places. Looking for love in too many faces.
They compare and say all Christians are the same because of what they've seen from different churches or different, people talking to them and stuff like that. And they think, oh, everybody's just like that if that one person's like that. So
That's good.
I've heard some of them say that they feel like God's given up on them, like that they're alone in the world.
That's good. Ballard. Or is it Bellard? How do you pronounce it?
Your mom.
COVID-19.
Yes. They say things like karma. Karma is not biblical.
Hang on. I want to make sure everybody hears that. Say that one more time.
They say things like karma.
However,
we reap and we sow based on the word of God.
I was at a dinner, and there was some guys here with us at this dinner Saturday night, and we heard someone talking about, keeping religious liberties in our state and freedom, and then went on this whole thing with a speech about karma. It's like, wait, what religion are you talking about, bud? Okay, what about this? I believe there's a lot of ways to get to heaven. What about I'm just a good person? Look, I don't need to go to church. I'm a good person. All right. Oh boy, this better be good, or you're fired.
Oh, me and God have an understanding. Me and God we got this.
Okay, what about some phrases from a spiritual infant? Possibly, yeah. Spiritual infant. What are some phrases a spiritual infant might say? I'll kick it off. I'm a good person. A loving God would never send me to hell. Miss Lauren. Miss Ballard.
I'm not being fed at a church. I'm not being fed. I've just been really, really busy and don't have time to commit to this.
Come on with it. That was on my notes too.
I'm not. I don't have time for this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have time to do all these things. I only have time for life.
So check it out. I have in my notes. I'm too busy for small groups. That was good, Parker. Yes, ma'am.
I go to church.
That made my eyes cross. I hear this. Ooh, Lord Jesus, protect my mouth. So some of the traits, just to remind you of a spiritual infant, they are basically the Lord of their life. Okay? They've accepted Jesus, but they're still the Lord of their life. Yeah. They're confused about what the truth really is. What's something else? One more. One more spiritual infant. YOLO. You only live once. Come on with it. Unless you're the devil. No. Okay, so let's look at spiritual children. I want to hear some phrases. They're starting to grow, okay? They're not infants anymore. They're starting to grow. They're starting to build some relationships, kind of understanding some spiritual habits. So what are some things that you'd hear a spiritual child say? Now, again, they're still me-focused.
They don't deserve my forgiveness.
Oh, Lord Jesus. That'll preach. Yeah.
I don't know where I fit in at.
That's good.
Lexi said, like, why do we worship? Why are we doing these things? That's very accurate, like trying to figure out why are we spending our time doing these disciplines.
Yeah, they're experiencing, but they're still trying to learn. They're still slightly confused on what truth is and what that looks like. That's good.
And then my thought is, well, I need to be put in a place of leadership. Put me on the stage, put me in front of everybody, look at what I'm doing. The show-off aspect that Parker and Lizzie and Lexi had talked about, I want to show off for everybody.
Yeah. Every gray hair in my beard comes from that statement right there.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Let's let him go to somebody else and we'll bring it back into your parts.
All right, somebody else. Thank y'all for sharing. Spiritual child, or something like that. Again, they're growing. They're not at the previous stage. They are growing.
If I go to church, I don't need to read my Bible at home.
My goodness. Richard,
Come
coming
on,
in
Jesus.
clutch.
The music was too loud. I didn't like that song we sang today.
Nobody says that.
Just they don't say it in front of you, Lauren.
Nobody loves me, and this church isn't listening to me.
I'm gonna give you a couple that are a little more positive. Listen to this statement carefully. I love my church because I feel like I belong. Not a bad statement. But what's it focused on? Me. They're not wrong in the statement. That's great that you feel like you belong. But is that why you love your church? For just you? All right. Here's one. I'm upset about having to branch our small group. I just started making friends. They're excited. They're growing. But they're still not catching the full picture of what disciple making is. Go ahead.
I mean, it's not a phrase, but like we talked about the other day, that a spiritual child will ask someone else, like, I need you to pray for this healing. Well, I have the power to pray for that healing, so waiting for somebody else to do it.
So what you're saying is they're still trying to learn how to feed themselves, which is also a lot like a child. They can do some things. I can make some dry cereal, but I can't necessarily put milk in it. I need some help with that.
Branching off from your parents because your parents can't get you to heaven.
Hey, sister, soul sister. Okay, what about this? What about spiritual young adults? Remember, they've moved from being just me-focused to others-focused and more God-focused. They're learning to give of themselves. They're trained to be ministers of the gospel like we all are. What are some phrases you might hear from a spiritual young adult? They're on the second half of this wheel as they move towards maturity.
How can I help?
Oh, yes, sir. That's right. How can I help?
Are you need help in the kitchen? Okay.
What else?
Able to apologize and take ownership for a mistake, and then like grow in that.
Y'all pass the offering buckets. She's preaching now.
Fast learners.
I didn't catch it. Fast learners. That's good. Miss Rena in the front.
They'll usually have lots and lots of questions, and sometimes it will really put you on the spot because they'll ask, well, where do you find that in the Bible? And you're like, I think it's, they have lots of questions.
Yeah.
Between the covers. That's where you'll find it.
I see young adults, too, as someone who is learning to lead, learning to grow mature, and they're also really good at seeing real problems. So, for instance, I want to branch my small group, but I haven't found any leaders yet. So they're seeing a problem, a real problem, not the music's too loud,
So kind of piggybacking on that a little bit too, they will tend to offer their home or their service for a small group.
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to lead
to
it,
see.
but I'll host it.
That's it. Hey, look, you can have my home. I'll cook. I'll do all that.
Yep.
You just lead it.
Yep, that's good. That's good, and that's learning to train as well. It's putting themselves in an environment where they can watch someone else lead so that one day they can do the same thing. That's good. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's go to spiritual parents.
1 second.
Yep.
Earlier, we talked about this grouping, that most of us was in this grouping. And as always, I get my wisdom from weird places. And one time on Tool Time, I was watching, and thank you, Wayne. Thank you, brother.
You do look kind of like Al Borland tonight. Go ahead. Sorry. He finally starts speaking. Look at it. Here we go.
Bring up Tool Time. But they had such a great lesson in there that I learned a lot from, and I'm hoping I'm sharing it with y'all that y'all can kind of understand. But the oldest son, Brad, was hanging out with an older bunch of boys, and he was getting in trouble. They were busting lights with rocks and stuff like that, getting in trouble. And so, of course, he goes talk to Wilson about it. And Wilson goes into this thing about this tribe in Africa. And he said what they do is they'll give them a little bit of bread and a skin full of water at, I think he said 10 years old. And he sends them out in the wilderness for a month. And they say they can't come back until that month's over. And when if the son comes back, they celebrate him as a man. And what he was saying is that we don't acknowledge that kids, when they become teenagers, when they're young adults, they're stuck between wanting to be a child with no responsibility, but wanting to be able to do the fun stuff that they think parents get to do. And so we get stuck in between there because we're kind of afraid of the responsibility. We're afraid of what might come with it. And somebody just said something a minute ago about I'll host, but I don't want to lead. And so for all of us that are in that spot, we've got to make that choice. We got to choose to say, I want to be a parent. I know that I can help others and raise up these children to be disciples. But it's got to be a conscious decision. So what Tim did is he brought his son into where he was rebuilding that car, and he let him cut a piece of pipe with a torch. And he had never let him cut with that torch before. And when he got done cutting that piece of pipe, he said, I now decree you as a man. And they kind of celebrated that step from childhood to manhood, allowing the kid to be able to choose the side and become that side and not just kind of waver between the two.
That's good. Well, let's wrap that up then. What are some phrases we hear parents say, spiritually speaking? Not your parents, Lexi. We know what that. We all know what they say to you. Too soon? Spiritual parent. What does spiritual parent say? Miss Angie.
Want to come to church with me? Got a seat for you.
There you go. Angie is the queen of that statement. I've heard her say that more than anybody I know.
I challenge you to speak up at church.
Hey, come on with it. He's talking to you, Wayne. All we need is another Tool Time reference. You'll be there.
I don't got a phrase, but when the crap hits the fan, that's who's there.
Ah.
That's who answers the phone at the midnight hour when everything's gone wrong.
That's good. Anybody else? Right up here in the front. Vanna Benoit.
Yeah, I was just thinking, right as Lauren was saying it, I couldn't figure out a way to word it, but it was just in my mind, I was thinking there's just no excuses. It's just whatever I have to do to make it happen, and it's genuine and intentional, and it happens. You know, it's just.
That's good. Phrases, yeah. Or if you can't come up with a phrase, a trait. I mean, that's.
A lot of times I have to get reprimanded by my Aunt Donna, and she'll say, "Now, is that the right way to respond?"
Oh.
They always try to help spiritual children and young adults improve on their godly things.
That's good.
Even when you're around the spiritually dead and you know they're spiritually dead, you love them anyway.
Oh, snap.
They always put God first.
Yeah.
Like always.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yeah. Yeah. The Ballards.
So, for like practical sense in discipling a parent, we'll be intentional about seeing something in someone's life, but not so much calling them out in front of people, but taking the time to spend with them and say, "Hey, I've been seeing this. What's going on? Can I help you?" And that's much different, and it's received much different.
Intentional and strategic. Two words that describe Jesus' ministry in creating his disciples as well.
I'm going to be real embarrassed if I repeat what he said because I was listening to what Lexi was saying just
boy.
now, but it'll just be confirmation if so. A spiritual parent submits to a higher authority.
Oh,
Every
snap.
spiritual parent has somebody that is coaching them or parenting them because they're going to encounter situations that they don't know how to handle and things that get too hard and too much, and they have to have people in their life to lean on for support.
That's good. Absolutely. My toes were tapping. The old Baptist tap. The old Baptist tap. Hey, I want y'all to take a second and just look around the room real quick. Who's the youngest of you guys? Is it Parker? How old are you, Parker? 10. I know who the oldest is in the room. I want to ask you what your age is. We got everybody in between. To me, this is a snapshot of the early church. Just families coming together, learning, growing, sharing a meal together. This is the early church, guys. We want to equip you to be the hands and feet of Jesus so that we can be like Acts Church, where we're seeing just thousands added daily because of how we're interacting with each other, which is exactly what my point was Sunday in preaching that message, was that, we're not changing anything that we're doing. We're going to keep doing what we have been doing. And this is part of that process. Part of the process thing. I'm going to go on a Monday night when I have things to do at the beginning of the week. I know everybody has a schedule and things going on, but I'm going to take some time to be intentional about my growth and put myself around other people to help them grow. They're going to help me grow so that we can help other people grow. This is what it's all about, church. This is what it's all about. As we move forward in this, you're going to be taught a whole bunch of different things from different people, and we're going to learn and grow together. You're going to have questions. We're going to have answers, but the goal is Christ-likeness. The goal is for each of you to answer the invitation to say, I want Jesus to come and remain in me, to make me a fisher of men, to make me an ambassador for his kingdom. That's what the goal is. There's no gimmicks. There's no tricks. There's no fluff. It's just simply a biblical foundation for a reproducible process of making disciples who make disciples who make disciples. And we'll get into the weeds of that as we go along on this. But I'm really looking forward to hearing from the other teachers. And I'll be up here, too, to provide color commentary like John Madden. And it's going to be good. The format might change as far as the teaching style, but we're gonna grow. And hopefully you're going to get some new tools and things. And if you have questions, this will be the safe place to ask those questions so we can grow. I do want to say this before I close out. Thank y'all for cooking each week. It's been great. We appreciate y'all. Yeah. And everybody else that turns sound on and gets stuff going for us for these Monday night deals, thank y'all so much. And that better be Jesus. No. I really do appreciate it. I'll give Quint, like always, the final thoughts.
The only thing I really wanted to say is that, like you said, we're transitioning from introducing you guys to what the Bible says discipleship is and discipleship making. And now that you have that foundation, we're going to start laying out the scriptures that you can use, whether you're a young disciple or a parent, the scriptures that you can use to support the good news that you spread and the good news that you're learning. You may be new to salvation and really not understand everything. So we want to really, hammer the simple gospel, the foundational pieces that make up what we need to know and understand to be able to be a disciple and be able to make disciples. And so I think personally I'm very excited about hearing from all these teachers that are going to come and teach these scriptures. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And the format's going to be good because Matt's going to be John Madden. But I think it's going to be really, really beneficial for everyone. And then after we're done teaching each lesson, we're going to do some of this kind of stuff where we're asking questions and talking amongst each other about things, maybe going a little bit deeper if we can. But we'll move through 6 different lessons that we have right now. So we still got a lot to teach, and so we appreciate y'all coming. We hope y'all are learning from this, and we also would like any kind of feedback that you have to help us learn from what we're doing and maybe what we can do to make things a little bit better or stuff like that. And we appreciate y'all. We hope to see y'all again next week. Hope everybody stays safe, and God bless you.